Hey guys, this is Mr. White from Smarter Intermediate. This is our last week of online learning. Because of that, I wanted to give you guys a way to keep creating art throughout the summer. In this video, I'm going to show you guys multiple options on how to make sketchbooks. Some of them take more materials than others, but feel free to pick one or more of them to try to make. These are only a few of the options of how to make a sketchbook, so feel free to go online, explore, and find other ways and try those out as well. The first sketchbook option is going to be one of the easiest to make and takes the less amount of materials. It's going to be kind of a pamphlet. All you need, you're going to need a piece of paper, you're going to need some scissors. All right, for the first sketchbook option, it's pretty simple. Just going to take your piece of paper, going to fold it in half, the long way. Okay, and you're going to fold that in half again, both sides. I like doing one side at a time, just to make sure I can get that nice and lined up. Make sure you make your creases nice and sharp. Hold the other side. Okay, and you're going to open it all the way back up. You see your nice three folds there. And you're going to fold it in half this way. Make sure you line it up. A nice sharp crease. All right. So now is the tricky part. So you look at this, you've got your grid. What you're going to do is you need to cut from right here along this crease to right here. To do that easily, you can fold it in half this way. And you just got to cut down that line, stopping when you get to that crease. So follow that crease down and stop when you meet that first crease right there. Then, if you open your paper up, you'll have your paper, and you'll have this slit here in the middle. What you're going to do then, you can fold it in half. And if you do this carefully, you can then, if you push from the sides, makes this little opening in the middle. Just keep pushing. And you can kind of fold all these around. Flatten out your book. And you've got your little pamphlet. Little booklet here. Okay. That was sketchbook option number 1. Our second option for your sketchbooks is very similar to the first one, but this one's going to have a few more pages. You're also going to need a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. Same process. You're going to fold in half this way again. Should do nice sharp creases. Fold in half again. Once again, I do one side at a time to make sure I get them lined up nice. Crease sharply. Fold the other side over. Okay. Open that back up. You can see your 3 crease lines. Once again, I'm going to fold it again this way, half the other direction. Being careful to line that edge up nicely. Nice crease, except this time we're going to fold it in half again. So just like we did the other way, you're going to fold it in half. Once again, I do one side at a time to make sure I get it right. Fold it in half again. There we go. And when you open this up, you can kind of see this grid that it has here. You have 4 squares by 4 squares. This time, cutting's a little bit different. You're going to start here. You're going to follow your crease line. Follow the crease, keep going. You're going to stop here. Then you're going to cut this direction. stopping here, cut this direction, stop here, kind of like in a spiral pattern. Cut this way, stop here, and that way. So you're going to cut along that line, and you'll end up stopping in the middle. Let me show you. Just follow your crease lines. If it helps you to draw the lines on like I did, you can do that. Just carefully cut on those crease lines. Take your time so it looks, it looks nice and neat. Turn. Keep cutting all the way in the middle. One more little cut here. Alright, so now we have it cut all along that spiral. Now, to make your pamphlet or your sketchbook, start from one side and just use the folds that are there. Kind of fold it up into a small booklet. Just keep folding it all up. Not all the pages are going to fold the exact same way, so you got to pay, kind of close attention to how the creases are. So that way you can fold your book up the right way. And then you'll have your booklet. So you got some pages that go this way, some that are going to open that direction, but that gives you a booklet that has a little bit more pages. That was sketchbook option number 2. The third sketchbook option is a little more complicated, but it allows you to add more pages to your sketchbook as you continue to work. For this one, you're going to need some paper. I would suggest maybe cutting it half size. And you're going to need some kind of cover. You can use a piece of construction paper, or you can use a piece of cardstock, whatever you have. You're also going to need either a rubber band or a piece of string. For sketchbook option number 3, you got your paper. And you're going to take your cover, it's either construction paper or whatever you're using for your cover. You want to make sure that they are the same size. So if they're not, you can trim it down with your scissors. Might happen to be the same size already. What you're going to do, so you got about 8 sheets of paper here. You're going to stack them up with your cover. Then you're going to carefully, all together, take all those, fold that in half. Be careful to try to keep them as even as possible. Give it a nice crease there. So that already makes kind of a book, but we're going to make it a little more permanent here. So this is where you can either take some string, you can tie that around, or I'm going to take a rubber band here. You can stretch a rubber band over that binding part, and that's going to hold all those pages in there together. This also allows you, if you want, you have more paper you want to add in. So you want to add some more, you just take that paper, if it's the same size, fold it in half just like the other ones. You can open this up, just lift that rubber band, and you can slide some more paper in. Just line it up with the others, and you got more paper into your sketchbook. So that was sketchbook option number 3. The fourth sketchbook option is a little more permanent. It has a nice cleaner edge. For this one, you're going to need paper. Once again, maybe construction paper for the cover, a pair of scissors, stapler, and some duct tape. All right, for sketchbook option number 4, you're going to take your paper. If you want to, you can either fold it in half or you can leave it the same, your call. But you're also going to need your covered paper, front and back, if you're doing it without folding. If you're folding it, you could probably just fold that paper right in half and have that be your cover this way. I'm going to do a little bit bigger book here. So I've got my paper sandwiched in between my cover pages. I'm going to make sure those are lined up. I'm going to take my stapler and I'm going to go right along the edge and staple it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to do 3 on this one just because it's a little bit bigger of a book. And you have that there. You can leave it as is, or you can make it a little more fancy, kind of make this binding edge a little bit nicer and kind of cover up those staples. What you can do is you can take some duct tape, or any kind of tape for that matter. I happen to have duct tape here. Stretch out a piece of duct tape. I'm going to lay that down on my table so I can work with it a little easier. I'm going to take my sketchbook and I'm going to line it up so that it goes halfway onto that tape. If you're a little off, that's okay. Push that down. Then I'm going to take the other half, fold it over the top, wrap it around, push it down real good. And then the extra on the ends, just take your scissors, trim it off. Trim that off and get rid of that. And now you have your book with this nice, clean-looking binding there. All your pages in there. There you go. That was sketchbook option number 4. Sketchbook option number 5 lets you make a little bit bigger, thicker of a book, but also still allows you to add pages in. For this one, you're obviously going to need paper for your sketchbook. And for the cover, you can either continue to use that construction paper like before, or you can use tag board. You can either get that from the back of a notebook or even from a cereal box. And you're also going to need binder clips. For sketchbook option number 5, this is a book where if you want to have a lot more pages in it, make it a little bit thicker. So I've got a stack of paper here. You can also either use tag board, cardstock. I've got a cereal box cover here. I'm going to go ahead and use that. Or you can use construction paper, your choice. But you want to make sure that that your cover is cut to the same size as your paper, as you can see here. Okay, let's go like this. Okay, so we're going to make sure that's all lined up. Then you're going to take your binder clips. You're going to use them, whichever side you're going to put your binding on. You could put those like so. You can do 2. If you need to do 3, you can. You can fold these tips over like that if you want. Or a really cool trick with these is if you look closely, see if this focuses. If you take these, you can even, if you squeeze this metal part, you can remove, it's kind of hard sometimes. You should be able to remove those metal pieces so that they don't get in the way. So you can do that on the front and the back. Move those metal pieces off, and then that'd be a nice binding there for you. And you can also, since I'm using cardstock, it kind of makes it hard for me to open this. Right along this edge here, where those are, where the binders, where the clips are there, you can score a line. I'm just going to use the edge of a scissors, but you're just going to push nice and hard. You're not cutting through. You're just kind of giving an indent. So a place for that cover to bend on. So now my cover can bend right there, and it'll be easier for me to stay open. Okay. This is also nice because you can always add more paper to this. That was sketchbook option number 5. Sketchbook option number 6 is probably one of my favorites, and it's pretty unique. For this one, you're going to need paper, something for the cover. You can either use that construction paper again, or that tag board, or cardstock. You're also going to need a rubber band, a hole punch, and some kind of stick. You can either use a stick, or a skewer, or even a pencil. All right, so sketchbook option number 6. You're going to need to take your paper. You're going to have your cover paper here. You can use regular paper, you can use cardstock, whichever. I'm going to sandwich them in between here. So you got paper on both sides. Then you're going to take your hole punch. You're going to punch 2 holes. Space them down a little bit. One about here. One about the same distance from the other corner. Make sure that you're, there we go. One about the same distance there. And now we got that hole through all of them, all the way through. Then you're going to take your rubber band, feed it through one hole. So there's a loop on this side. This is where you get to choose. You can either use a stick, pencil, or a skewer. I'm going to use this pencil for this one. I'm going to put one end of that pencil through there so that it holds that loop of the rubber band. Okay. Then I'm going to turn the whole book over. Take the other end of this rubber band, feed it through the other hole. I have to stretch rubber band a little bit, that's okay. Let's get to that other side. To that loop, you're going to put the other end of your stick, or your pencil in this case. Kind of adjust that so it's good. And then you got your binding there. It's kind of nice because in this case you have a pencil. You always have a pencil with you for your sketchbook. The sketchbook option number 6. Sketchbook option number 7 is going to be a simple form of a sewn binding. For this one, you're going to need paper once again, some kind of cardstock or thick paper for your cover. You're going to need an awl or something to poke through the paper to make holes. You use an awl, maybe a nail. You're going to need some string, and you're going to need a needle. All right, so sketchbook option number 7. You got your grouping of paper here. Got about 10 sheets or so here. I've got a piece of construction paper I'm going to use for my cover. I'm going to stack those together, make sure they're the same size. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to fold those in half all together with a nice crease. I'll try to keep those lined up as best as possible. Go ahead and get a nice crease there. You're going to open this up and you'll see this crease now on the inside. Then you're going to take your awl, which is what I'm using here, or you can use a nail, and you're going to punch 3 holes through all the papers, including the cover, right on that seam line, right on this fold. So just real careful, take it, poke it through all the holes, all the papers. Make sure you don't accidentally poke your fingers. Another one in the middle. And third one, you want to make sure that your paper stays lined up when you're doing these so that all those holes are lined up through all 3 papers. So now I've got 1, 2, 3 there. I'll go ahead and then grab my needle. I've got a piece of string here. You want to make sure your string is long enough to make sure you have plenty to work with. I'm going to thread this needle here. It can be kind of difficult at times. There we go. So I got that needle threaded there. Okay, now what you're going to do, how you're going to start is you're going to start from the outside, on the cover side. You're going to take your needle, go through the middle hole. Move this out of the way. Go through that outside hole. You're going to pull your string through, and you're going to leave a little bit on the outside because we're going to use that to tie it off later. And from there, so on the inside, you're going to go pick one of the holes. You can either go either direction. You're going to go through from the inside of the book out to the outside cover. Pull that string all the way through. So now you should have your one coming out here, one coming out this hole. You're then going to go all the way across to your final hole. Take your needle with your thread and go down through that final hole. coming out the middle of the book. Pull that through. And the final thing you're going to do is you're going to now go back through this original hole again. Back through the original hole. Pull that string through. Now here, take your needle off now. I make sure one string is on one side, one string is on the other of the other. See, there's this ring string going down the middle, one on either side. You're now going to tie this into a knot. You can tie it in a bow, whichever. And you can cut off this extra. Well, I can cut it off with this one. This. Cut off that extra. And then you have your bound book. Nice little tassel string. That was sketchbook option number 7. Our final option for sketchbooks, option number 8, is going to be what's called a Japanese stab binding. For this one, you're going to need some cardstock or some construction paper for your cover, some paper, obviously. Once again, a needle, some thread, and you're also going to need that awl or that nail to stab through that paper to give, make those holes. For the final sketchbook, we're going to do a 3-stab Japanese binding. You need your paper. You're going to need some kind of cover. I've got cardstock this time. You're going to sandwich your paper between your cardstock or your cover. Make sure it's all lined up. Now we're going to be punching 3 holes in the side here, all the way through. To make sure they don't move, I've grabbed a piece of tape here. I'm going to tape a little piece of tape there. Or you can even use binder clips, paper clips, just to hold it together so it doesn't move, to make sure my holes stay lined up. Then you're going to put 3 holes down your binding here. You want to make sure they're the same distance from the edge. So I'm going to start, put one about an inch in from the side. Use my awl. You can use a nail, pound it in with a hammer if you need to get through all 3 pages, or all your pages and your covers. I'm going to put 1 hole at the same distance, so it's about an inch from there. We'll go about an inch in here in the middle. Careful not to poke your finger on the other side. There's 2, and my final one I'll put down here towards this corner, just like I did the first one. Through all 3. Alright, so now that you got your hole, you got your hole in all 3. I'm going to go ahead and leave the tape on here just to help me hold this together. Make it a little easier. You're going to take your needle and your string. You want to make sure you have plenty of length on here. Better to have too much than enough because you can always cut the extra off. Alright, so stitching on this is kind of a little confusing. So we're going to start. We got 3 holes here. We're going to start at the top hole. So we'll go down through the top hole. Pull the string. Don't pull it all the way through like I accidentally did in there. You want to leave a little bit of a tail there so that way you have some string to tie it off with when we are done. So be careful. Just leave yourself some extra hanging out there. There we go. Okay, so you've gone down through that hole. And this is where it gets tricky. You're now going to wrap it around the edge. So instead of going back through a hole on the side, you're going to wrap it around the edge and go back down through that same hole again. And pull your string all the way through. Straighten it out a little bit there. Pull it kind of tight. You don't want to pull it too tight because you don't want to rip it through the paper, but you want to have it nice and snug. Now, you're going to take it, and you're going to go wrap it around this edge this time, the binding side. So you're going to wrap it. So it's coming out this side. You're going to wrap it around and go back down through that hole a third time. Pull your needle through, nice and tight. This time, we're going to do a little different. We're going to move on. You're going to go and you're going to put your needle through the middle hole. Pull it through. Oh, my string got a little caught there. Just take your time. In case your string gets tangled. It's okay. So now from here, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go to this far corner now. So the last hole, I'm going to go down through that. And I'm going to repeat the process of what I did with the top hole. I'm going to wrap it around, go down again through it again. So I wrapped it around the side. Go through there again. Once again, pull it around from the back. Go back down through that hole again. This time wrapping around the edge. Like that. Now, flip it over. You're going to take it. You're going to take your needle, go down through the middle hole again. Pull it nice and tight. And we're going to wrap it this time. This time we're going to wrap it around the binding. So wrap it around to the back side. Go back up through that hole up again. Pull it tight. And then our final one here, we're going to go down. Actually, we could just tie it off right here. Either tie it off or go down through this top hole one last time. And then tie it off to itself. Tie it off to the other string here. Tie it off in a knot. Make sure we keep it nice and snug. Once again, then you can cut that off. Let me use this hole punch again. It seemed to work well last time. Cut that extra string off. Now that it's sewn, you can remove the tape or whatever you had holding it together. Tape sticking a little bit, but that's okay. There you go. Move that tape, and now you've got your sketchbook. If you need to, so it folds better, you can hold it right here and you can fold it right on that binding so it can open it up nice and easy. It's a Japanese stab binding. And that was your final one. Sketchbook number 8.